Hey everybody, it's Bruce here with Traveling with Bruce. Video today is all about what is going on out there with cruise ships and airplanes. A lot of satellite imagery here to show you and some aerial photographs and to give you an overview of just what is going on. Thank you for subscribing to my channel, giving my video updates thumbs ups. I really appreciate those. Also, thank you for all your comments as well, and joining me on my Facebook group page and Instagram page. Love having you follow us there to fight the virus. We have now got COVID masks for TWB logo merchandise available on the RedBubble Store. The links are just down below in the description. Head on over to RedBubble, get your own mask today, and show the colors of TWB. Thank you, everybody, for your support. All right, let's get into what's going on out there. There are cruise ships on the move. Look at this picture right here. This is from a Cruise Mapper. All those arrows, those triangles, are cruise ships heading south towards Africa and Asia, heading across the Atlantic to Europe. There are clusters of ships all over the place. A lot of crews are being repatriated back home. Here in the Caribbean, the Southern Caribbean, Leeward Islands, near Barbados, you can see a cluster of ships down here. And if I zoom in a little bit more, you'll note here, this is Barbados. There are a number of ships sitting here waiting to get back into business. They are waiting out they're waiting out the pandemic there. Just off the coast of Florida, we have a number of clusters of ships, some in harbor, in and around the Miami area and Fort Lauderdale, but most of them here near the Bahamas. To the west, those pink-colored dots, those are Carnival ships. The green colors are Royal Caribbean. Here I'm zooming in on a few of the other, some of the Royal Caribbean ships. You can see Coco Cay down there, Great Stirrup Cay. These ships here are waiting to get back into business. They're being laid up right now with very few crew members, and they'll sit here for months and months and months. Perhaps once every week or two they'll come into port, get some supplies, and then go right back out there. Here, the Philippines. This is the Asia area. There's a cluster of ships now just in the outskirts of Manila. These ships here that you can see, the Panorama from Carnival, the Splendor, they're here just outside the Manila harbor. But here, moving in, you can see a ton of cruise ships are now at the in the harbor just outside of Manila, waiting to offload their crews. They are there for 14-day quarantines, and then they will offload thousands, probably 15, 20,000 Filipinos and more coming to be dropped off by the cruise lines. And this is telling me that these pictures right here will continue for quite some time. Cruise lines are still decrewing. They're not even thinking of starting up. The other issue, of course, airlines. There are now 95% numbers being bandied about as to how low or how bad it is for air traffic. The traffic's down by 95%. The vast majority of aircraft around the world are parked. They're being stored in aircraft storage facilities, or they're literally being stored at airports around the world. Some of these airports are not what we would call international airports. They're more like regionals, but the regionals are shut down just like the international airports, and so these regionals have taxiways and runways just choked full of aircraft from all the major carriers around the world. Of course, all over the USA, all over Europe, all over Asia. The aircraft are sitting idle and are not going anywhere. This is what we need to see happen. We need to see this business coming back before really we get any kind of a rebound in the cruising area in the long run. More satellite imagery for you here. There's a whole bunch of, these are the whole bunch of the ships that are, I think these are Carnival ships. They could be Royal Caribbean, but I think they might be Carnival ships that were gathering up. And if you see closely enough, I'll try to zoom in on some of these. There might be, you might see some of the tenders that are going between the ships. This is where they were playing, shuffling the crews around. Some of the ships had to accept Filipino crew members, members from India, from Indonesia. Others were offloading Europeans and Americans and Canadians and going to various ships. So all of these ships ended up shuffling their crews so that when the ships were sent on their way to repatriate crew, they were all from the same region. And it's a logistical feat. You need decent weather to do it. You can't have high seas, and thankfully this time of year in the Caribbean you can do that. It's quite a stunning thing to watch. Some of the other interesting satellite photography that I uncovered, this here is near Cancun, Mexico, a little while ago. A couple of ships from way up high. You can see the tenders there on one of the ships. These folks tender to the shore. The port is at the very top of the photo. The upper left is where these tenders are headed for, but the ships can't come in any closer than what you see here. Some of the imagery is just stunning. You'll see here in a minute the imagery of Venice. Only a month ago, Venice has now effectively been completely shut down, and the look from space to the canals and what the canals look like now, the smaller canals, the larger canals, virtually hardly any vessels in the water at all. Venetians are talking about the fact that they can see fish, jellyfish, all kinds of marine life in their canals. It's always been there. It's just that the wildlife now can see where they're going, and mankind can look down and see the beauty of the water for first time in many years. It's quite stunning. It'll be interesting to see how a place like Venice chooses to rebound when the time comes to rebound. Will they want to go anywhere near what they had before? Will they want to only limit traffic to maybe a third of what they had, or a half? Of course, economically, it can't be good, but boy, geologically, it's fantastic. Man, the marine life's got to be loving it. A couple other photos here. I've got a photo here from Disney of a Disney ship. This is the Castaway Key or Castaway Cay area that Disneyland has, where they've opened this up, oh gosh, almost 25-30 years ago now. Every Disney ship that heads to the Caribbean usually ends up here for a full day. The ship is brought into the slip and is tied down, and the public can disembark and enjoy all the amenities of this area here. Lots of water toys, lots of loungers. The kids have endless things to do. Really popular spot that Disney has created here, cut off from the general population, and you can see how they've dredged the water out to accommodate the ship. But only one at a time. And they're now looking to develop Lighthouse Point, but with the virus and the pandemic having taken place, we'll have to see how long it's going to take for that area to be fully developed out. But Castaway Cay or Castaway Key here has been a huge winner for Disney. It makes it easy to sell and resell cruises on Disney cruise ships time after time after time. And when they come back sailing again, we'll have to see if Disney will offer 3 or 4 whatever day cruises, and one of the full days will likely be here. The other stops, who knows where they're going to go and how long they're going to stay. Here's a satellite image from a while ago. This is over 10 years ago now. Remember this? The Costa Concordia, when she ran into some rocks and here in Italy, and she ended up on her side. This is an aerial shot that's been improved upon a bit, and that is what she looked like not long after she was just destroyed by that idiotic captain who brought the ship so close to the jagged rocks there. Too close, as a matter of fact. 32 casualties, even though the ship was right beside the land. Unbelievable. Anyway, there are other photos here of aircraft parked all over the world. Like I said before, Airlines cannot fly airplanes without passengers. They're not going to do that, and their phones are not ringing off the hook. Booking sites, online booking sites, are talking about years for recovery time. And I'm curious to see just how will the airlines react, and how will the FAA and the CDC interact here going forward. Will airlines be forced to operate at a lower capacity than in the past? Will they be allowed to stuff us in like sardine cans as they used to? I'm hoping that the numbers will be brought down just to really improve our chances of not making each other ill. But I'm not an airline expert, but as a consumer, man, oh man, I would love to see a plane go to 66% capacity instead of 100. And I don't care about the business section and the first class section. They've got a lot of room there. They've always had a lot of room up there. I'm worried about the economy section in the back of the plane. Let's face it, folks. Economy passengers don't cover the majority of the cost of a flight. It's the business class passengers and the first class passengers. They're the ones who are paying the top dollar to fly because they get much more space. But in economy, it has just gotten obscene in the last 10 years. And with the lack of competition in the United States, with all of the consolidation, consumers have been the biggest losers. You can argue that airfares have never been lower. Well, up until January, that might have been the case. But were you really getting any value for your money? Because by the time you got nickel and dimed for every little side charge, were you saving anything? I don't think so. Airlines were reporting record profits almost across the board. Now, of course, they're reporting record losses because they're grounded. We'll see how this all plays out. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed some of these photos today from way up above. I find it interesting to follow it all, but you might think there's nothing going on, but believe me, there's a lot happening behind the scenes. Cruise ships are being repositioned right now to drop off crew, and it'll be interesting to see if cruise ships reposition after that for startup. And will startup be elsewhere rather than in the U.S.? Will it be Asia first? Will it be Southern Caribbean first? Will it be Europe first, America last? I don't know. The CDC rules, we'll have to see how this all sort of plays itself out. One day at a time. Stay warm, stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you for your support. We'll talk to you later, everybody. Bye for now.